This is Donner Pass. And in 1846, this breathtaking mountain landscape became a frozen tomb for a group of pioneers chasing the American dream. Trapped by an unimaginable winter, they were driven to the ultimate taboo, cannibalism. Today, people say their tormented spirits still wander here, and we came to find them. You might have heard of the Donner Party in school, but trust me, they left out the craziest parts. This isn't a boring history lesson. It's one of the darkest survival stories in human history. Locals and visitors alike have reported seeing strange figures in the snow, hearing the cries of children in the wind, and feeling a sadness so heavy it clings to the air itself. They call it a curse, a scar left by unimaginable suffering. We came here to retrace their final desperate steps, and to see if the ghosts of the Donner Party are still waiting. It all began in the spring of 1846. A group of 87 settlers, led by brothers George and Jacob Donner, left Illinois heading west toward California. They were ordinary people, farmers, mothers, children, families chasing hope and a fresh start. Their journey went smoothly until they reached Fort Bridger, Wyoming, where they faced a deadly choice. They could take the long, proven trail, or a brand new shortcut called the Hastings Cutoff. A man named Lansford Hastings promised it would save weeks of travel. He was disastrously wrong. The shortcut turned into a nightmare. It led them through barren mountains and across the Great Salt Lake Desert, a 6-day trek through blistering heat that killed their cattle and drained their supplies. By the time they rejoined the main trail, they had lost precious time. Winter was coming fast. On October 31st, the exhausted group reached the Sierra Nevada. That night, an early snowstorm buried the pass in 5 feet of snow. They tried to push through, but the storm was relentless. Trapped, starving and freezing, they built crude shelters near what is now Donner Lake, praying the snow would melt. Patrick Breen, one of the settlers, kept a diary. Came to this place on the 31st of last month. It snowed. We were unable to find the road, then turned back to this shanty on the lake. But the snow never stopped. It climbed 20 feet high, burying cabins, wagons, and hope itself. The trees they cut for firewood still bear the marks. The stumps stand 20 feet tall, a haunting reminder of how deep their icy prison became. As food ran out, desperation took hold. They boiled ox hides, chewed on bark, mice, and even their own shoes. One by one, people began to die. 15 of the strongest tried to escape, a desperate group later called the Forlorn Hope. They built makeshift snowshoes and walked into the blizzard, carrying rations for just 6 days. A month later, only 7 made it out. To survive, they had eaten the bodies of those who died along the way. It was the first word the outside world heard of the Donner Party's fate. When rescuers finally reached the camps in February 1847, they found scenes straight out of a nightmare. Bodies torn apart, bones split for marrow, and survivors barely recognizable. Gaunt, hollow-eyed, almost unhuman. Of the 87 who set out, only 48 lived. The last man found alive was Louis Keseberg, discovered alone among mutilated corpses. He swore he hadn't murdered anyone, but others believed he killed Tamsin Donner, the woman who stayed behind to die beside her husband. The truth died with him, and the legend began. But their story didn't end when the snow melted. It lingered, soaked into the soil, into the trees, into the mountain itself. Locals still say the first snowfall each year awakens something in Donner Pass. Visitors hear voices in the dark, see footprints appear in untouched snow, and feel eyes watching them from the trees. The most famous spirit said to haunt this place is Tamsin Donner herself, a glowing woman seen wandering the lakeshore, forever searching for the children she saved but couldn't follow. Others have seen a man near the museum, so solid and lifelike they greet him, until he walks straight through a wall. Standing at the Murphy cabin site, where the stone fireplace still remains, you can feel the weight of history pressing down. The silence here is deafening, heavy, cold, and charged. Even with the modern world humming beyond the trees, this ground feels timeless, sacred in the most tragic way. We walked the same trails where the Donner Party once prayed for rescue. The EMF meters flickered, the air dropped in temperature, and in the static of our recordings, faint voices whispered through the white noise, soft, sorrowful, impossible to explain. So ask yourself, what would you have done? Faced with starvation, watching your children fade before your eyes, how far would you go to survive? These weren't monsters. They were human beings pushed past the edge of reason. And maybe that's the true curse of Donner Pass, not the ghosts that linger here, but the memory of what humans become when nature strips everything else away. We came to Donner Pass searching for a haunting, but what we found was tragedy carved into the mountains themselves. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, you can't stand here without feeling it. The sorrow, the silence, the weight of 40 souls lost to the snow. As the sun sets over Donner Lake, you realize the real ghosts aren't the ones we hunt. They're the echoes of survival, still whispering through the pines. Mindworks Media, where the past whispers.